All right, continuing on here with the Algebra 1 end of course sample practice assessment. We're at A 3.8. When you look at that now, it's right here. We're going to graph a line given any of the following information. Table of values, the x and y intercepts, 2 points, a slope, and a point. The equation of the line in slope-intercept form or point-slope form. Okay, so let's look at some of those examples. First problem. Which of the following graphs represents a line whose slope is less than negative 0.5? Okay, well, we know that a flat horizontal line is a slope of 0. Okay, so that's not going to answer it here. And we know that a vertical line here has an undefined slope, no slope whatsoever. Okay, so we're down to these two. Okay, when I look at this slope here, if I pick 2 points, like the origin here, 0, 0, and this point right here, 1, 2, 3, negative 1, I'm going down 1 and 3 to the right, so that's a slope of negative 1/3. Okay, that's actually bigger than negative 1/2. And then here, we go from point to point, we're down 1 to the right 1, down 1 to the right 1. This has a slope of negative 1, and negative 1 is less than negative 0.5, so your answer here is B. Okay, negative 1 slope. Remember, if it goes down to the right, it has a negative slope. Okay, so we covered a couple things here. Undefined slope. Horizontal line has 0 for a slope. Okay, we just use our little rise over run, make our little right triangles. Okay, problem 2. Which of the following graph represents a line with a slope of 0 and a y-intercept of negative 2? Well, we said 0 is already has to be a flat horizontal line. So it could be D, it could be A. Obviously, B and C are out of the question. So what's our y-intercept here? Here we're crossing at a positive 2, up 1, 2. Here we're down 2, negative 2. So the answer here is A. Okay? 0 slope crosses the y-intercept at negative 2, the y-axis at negative 2. Okay? Problem 3. The Eagles football team scored 42 points in last Friday night's game. Their points came from field goals worth 3 points and touchdowns worth 7 points. The equation below represents how many field goals and touchdowns they could score, where x equals the number of field goals and y equals the number of touchdowns. So don't get thrown off by the word problem. They gave you the equation. So there's our equation. You can forget about all this other stuff up here now. Let's just work with this here. So which of the following graphs represent this equation? Okay, remember we talked about this before. When you get a standard form equation, x and y intercepts work pretty good. Okay, so if we're going to look down here, let's start out here. We got 3x plus 7y equals 42. And we said a lot of times when we get this, we want to use intercepts. So if I want to find the x-intercept, where am I going to intersect the x-axis? We make y equal to 0. So we make y 0. I get 3x equal to 42 because 7 times 0 is gone, it's 0. Divide out the 3, x is 14. You want to find the y-intercept? We make x equal to 0. So now if x is 0, 3 times 0 is 0, so I'm left with 7y equals 42. Divide out to 7, y is 6. So on my x, I'm out here at negative 14, or I'm sorry, positive 14, and on my y, I'm over here at 6. So the graph of that line does that right there, because it has to intersect at those 2 points. So we look back over here. Which of these two does that? Okay. Well, this one intersects at 3 on the y and 7 on the x. That's not it. 6 on the y, 14 on the x. Boom, there it is right there at C. Okay. And you can see from these down here, we're at 7 and 7. That's not going to work. And here we're backwards. We've got a y-intercept of 14 and the x is 7, so that's not going to work. So your answer here is right here, C. Okay, using x and y intercepts. We did quite a bit of that in class. All right, moving on here to A 3.9. Determine the slope, x-intercept, and y-intercept of a line given its graph, or 2 points on the line. Okay, so problem 1. Becca ran the first 4 miles of a race in 30 minutes. She reached the 6-mile mark at 45 minutes. Which of the following represents the slope of the given information? So, looking down here, if we take our miles per minute, she went 4 miles in 30 minutes. She also went 6 miles in 45. So she ran at a steady rate. And remember, slope is nothing but a rate of change. So the rate here, 4 miles in 30 minutes, you can simplify this down. 2 goes into both of them, 2/15. 3 goes into both of these, 2/15. Notice it's the same. There's your slope right there. Now, if it was minutes in a mile, then it would be flipped, but miles per minute, like miles per hour, 2/15. When you look back over here, that's answer A. Okay, I think that was wrong on the answer sheet. It should be A. Okay. Problem 2, slope of a line is -2/3. The coordinates of the points are x, 9, and 13,5. What's the value of the x? Okay, so we know that slope equals the difference in the y's over the difference in the x's, and then we just got to solve the equation for x. Okay, probably a little bit of a step up for a problem, but you're going to get some of those. Okay, so let's take a look here. We know slope is y2 minus y1. There's a difference in the y's over the difference in the x's. So we're given a slope here of -2/3. And that's going to equal 5 minus 9, difference in the y's, and 13 minus x. Okay, so when I look at this here, if I just take this over here, -2/3 equals -4 over 13 minus x. Okay, I've got a proportion set up right here, 2 equal fractions, so I'm going to cross multiply here. Okay, that's probably the easiest way to do it. -2 times 13 is -26, and -2 times the minus x, that'll be plus 2x, equals 3 times -4, which will be -12. Now we're back to solving equations just like we've already done. Let's isolate that x, get it by itself. I'm going to add the 26 over. So I get 2x equal to 14. Divide out to 2. X is equal to 7. Okay. This is a gridded box again, so either put it, remember I keep telling you this, either put it all the way here or put it all the way here, but don't put it in the middle. Okay. So x equal to 7 is what we're looking for right there. Problem 3. Sage found the equation of a line to be -50x plus 30y equals -240. What would be the x-intercept of the line? Well, we just did this in an earlier problem. We said to find the x-intercept. We know we're on the x-axis. Okay, so y has to equal 0. So we're going to come back over here. So we've got -50x plus 30y equals -240. So x-intercept, make y equal to 0. So that cancels that out right there. 30 times 0 is 0. So I'm left with -50x equals -240. You got a multiplication problem here. Undo it with division. Negative over negative makes this positive. 50 goes into there 4 times with a remainder of 40 over 50. And for most of you, you're going to use your calculator, so it's 4.8. Okay, and when you write that, make sure one of the decimal points is in one of the boxes. Okay, so it'll be 4.8 or 4.8. Put it on either end. Just don't put it in the middle. What's the slope of the equation here in problem 4? 7x minus 2y equals negative 6. To find the slope, we got to get in the y equals form. Y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to come down here. And we're going to take 7x minus 2y equals negative 6. We're going to solve for y, so I'm going to subtract my 7x. Get rid of multiplication, division. Addition and subtraction first. So we're going to get negative 7x minus 6. And if you wrote it the other way, that's okay. Just remember the slope is always in front of the x. Divide out the negative 2. So we get y equals negative over negative is a positive 7 halves x. Negative over negative again, so we get a plus 3. 2 goes into 6 3 times. There's your slope right there, 7 over 2. And remember, when you fill in the boxes, let me just show it to you here. 7/2. Okay, and put it on either end again. But you got to have that slash right there in one of the boxes. Okay. Hopefully that's been helpful for you here. We're just going to do 3, 8, 3, 9 this time. And we'll pick up when we get back. We'll be on 3, 10. Okay. See you then.